I doing this to myself? I don't know. Welcome back to my channel, welcome if you are new. I have decided to do 2 videos coming your way. Will I regret this? Probably. So the first of which will be all the series that I have physically that I have started and either need to finish or would at least like to catch up with in 2024. You'll see that some of these series are still ongoing, some of them have been completed, so my aim is to at least read one of the next books in the series. I'm hoping to complete some of these series because they're only trilogies, but we're just going to see what we can do, and I'm just going to, again, the same thing I did with the indie books that I've got to read. I have a list of all of those books. These are a mix of indie and trad series. Let you know which are finished and which aren't as we go along, and then we'll see. So the first up is The Sinister Mystery of the Mesmerising Girl by Theodora Goss. I think this is book 2. I don't know which way it is, but this is the Athena Girls, is it Athena Girls? Trilogy. The first one I read and loved, and for the life of me now I can't actually remember what it's called. It's annoying. You know what, the thing's just gone out made as I've been talking to you, and it's really bugging me. Daughters of Jekyll and Hyde, Frankenstein, well, the guy who created Frankenstein. Why can't it come to me? Dr. Moreau's daughter. So this is kind of like a follow-on from that first book. So I would like to finish this. A Heart So Fierce and Broken, Irreversible and Deadly. I read A Curse So Dark and Lonely? Question mark. Last year or the year before. Genuinely can't remember. These were gifted by Livy. Some of these. Was this one? No, this one. The first one is actually dedicated to Livy. Then I got these signed and dedicated by Bridget Cameron. Went to see her at Yalk. So it was 2022 because I had these in 2022. So I've had these a while. I loved book 1. I think the reason why I'm worried about continuing this series is because the first one is kind of like a Beauty and the Beast type of retelling. And you can see like hints of it. But I don't know what it's going to be like when it continues the story, because the next book in the series is not a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I don't think it's a retelling of anything. I think it's just a continuation of the story in book 1, and I don't know how that's going to go, but I need to read this, because I did read Defy the Night by Bridget Kemmerer, also love that, so I know I like Bridget Ryan, and I need to. And I also can't read Forging Silver into Stars until I've read this trilogy, I don't think. And I do have that book to read on my TBR. Another series I need to finish, and I've got Dream Thieves here, but it's Lily Blue that I need to read. And the last book in the series, whatever that is, I can't remember what it's called. But I've read The Raven Boys and Dream Thieves. This is a Claire Recommends series, and it's for the recommendations video for Chloe. It has been filmed. First two books have been filmed, but I want to do the whole series in a vlog. So I need to read books 2 and 3. I wanted to get to book 3 in December, but it just didn't work. So I need to finish off this series and then pick up Maggie Stiefvater's work. Now this one, I thought I'd on hold, but I haven't. So it's a Discovery of Witches. I watched the series 1 of this before I realised it was a base of a book. I then said I was going to read the books and then rewatch season 1 after I've read book 1, and then continue the series as I continue the books. But the Matthew in the series I like. The Matthew in the book I do not like. He really got on my nerves quite a bit, and he isn't portrayed in the same way as he is in the series, and I really didn't like it. I think I gave the overall book, was it 3.5, 3, 4? I still enjoyed the book for what it was, but I was unsure whether I was a bit disappointed in the fact that I didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to like it. I thought this was going to be a 5-star series for me because I loved the series so much. I'm going to continue. I don't even know if this is the second or third book, but whatever the second book is, there's a Book of Life and then Shadow of Night. Whichever one this is, I'll read book 2 and then book 3, hopefully this year, but they are thick ones. So I do also need the audios for these. There's one that I need to finish, or at least try and continue with, to see if it improves. And if not, I do need to unhaul this because these are big books taking up a lot of space. Next is the Red Rising series. So I started Red Rising. I read Red Rising in November, and I do have the first 5 books all in paperback because I got it in a set. I know, is it Lightbringer that's out now? But I want to wait till that comes out in hardback because I have paperback because I have the rest in paperback. But I really loved Red Rising, and I can't wait to get on to Golden Sun. I think, again, I'm thinking this is book 2. I should have really paid attention when I was pulling these off my shelves, but, you know, it is what it is. Whatever book 2 is in this series, I'm going to try and get at least Golden Sun and Morning Star Red. And that's like the first trilogy. And then I think the 2 after, which have the Iron Gold, is Iron Gold? And something else. I think they follow on a few years after this first trilogy. So that's not as big of a priority. I just want the original trilogy to be completed, hopefully, by the end of 2024. Now, I'm embarrassed to say that I haven't finished the series because I absolutely adored this. And this is A Faithful and the Fallen series by John Gwynne. I absolutely loved books 1, 2 and 3 of this. 5 stars. The world building, the characters, the battles, the tension, everything about this book was massive 5-star vibes all around. I'm scared of book 4 because John Gwynne doesn't pull punches. He will put his characters through shit, and I know that this is the last book, and I know where we left off in the 3rd book. I will have to fully reread the series in order to finish this series. So technically I'll be having to like read 4 chunky books on top of all these I want to get to as well, because it's been so long now. I think I read, this was on last year's like priority read for 2023, so I've had this since 2022 at least. So I would really like to finish this series, and I'm also still really good that I missed out on the hardbacks of these because they are stunning. Next up we have Shadows of Nindira. I think that's how you pronounce it. Book 3 in the Fallen Knight series. I am currently reading Curse of the Fallen at the moment. This, I don't know where book 2 is. Do I have book 2? Okay, so I have book 1 and I have book 3. I don't have book 2 yet, and there's a reason for that. This was a review copy that was gifted. I haven't gone out and purchased this before buying book 2. But I do want the hardcover collected editions of this series. I'm partway through book 1 and I'm absolutely loving it. So I don't want to buy the paperback just to get the hardbacks in a month's time. So I've got this because it was a review copy, and I will be keeping this for that reason. But I would like to at least get the 2nd book in this series read. If I can get to this one as well before book 4 comes out, I think there's a book 4, then I would love that. I haven't been telling you what this is about. I haven't been telling you who these are by. This is by H.G. Newell, and this is an indie published fantasy. Another indie published one, The Shadow Gate, L.L. McRae. The first book in this series was Iron Crown. This is the Dragon Spirit series, and Becca's read this and absolutely loved book 2. You can get the audios on Scribd as well. So, and I do need to get back with this group of friends, but I'm also scared of this one. Just because I know what happened in book 1, and I don't know where we're going to go from there, and I'm scared, okay? The thickums that I'm going to have to read physically. Ed Wilson by Daniel T. Jackson. I read Illborn back in 2022. Am I going to probably have to reread book 1? Possibly the last part of book 1 I'll need to read to remind myself of how it ended. But this was kindly gifted by Hattie for, was it my birthday? I don't know when she gifted it. She just said, you need to read this. I don't think it was for any particular reason other than the fact that I'd been talking about it on a live, because that's what Hattie does. And also Ashlog does that. But I did really enjoy book 1. It took me far too long to finish it. At one point, that was like my indie version of the Priory. And if you know the Priory incident and how long it took me to read that book, you'll understand what I mean by that phrase. but I don't want this to become another thing that I'm scared of physical reading. What I did with the other one is I broke it down into chapters, because this follows 4 different POVs. So I coloured the POVs in different coloured tabs, and I maybe read like a couple of POVs a day. So this was, the Ill One was a book that I read over a while, and it makes me more accomplished because you can actually see how many tabs you're getting done. So I might do that for this one as well, and hopefully I can get through this one. There's only 2 books out in that series at the moment. I've got a feeling Daniel is going to bring out book 3 next year, because this came out early 2023. Next is the Levantine series by A.P. Beswick. So me, Smash and Jem, in 2022, when we were starting the podcast, we read the first book in this series, and A.P. Beswick had seen that we'd read and reviewed book 1, and he sent us a novella. Was it 2 novellas? Along with some artwork. He sent us, all 3 of us, a novella and the next book in the series. I now think there is quite a few novellas out and quite a few books in the series out. All of these books are dark retellings of fantasy stories. So I do need to purchase the rest of these and read them, because even though these are small, each of these books are technically, he said, individual. They can be read as standalones, but there is, later down the line, they start coming together. So obviously for me, I would still probably read them in the order that they've come out, in chronological order. That's what I'm going to say, chronological order, because there will be potentially crossovers throughout the series, and you don't want to miss that and miss those little Easter eggs. So it is, because they are self-published, these are, not going to lie, these are expensive for the size that they are. But for me, I really love book 1, so I feel that they're worth it. And to be honest, any indie book that I really love, I think it's worth the money that they charge for them. And yeah, I just love these covers. They're so simplistic, but just so striking. On like the grey and white background, you've got like the pops of colour. And all the series is formatted that way. I just love it. Next up, I'm so sorry, Tiago, Shades of Madness. I read book 1, and I feel like that was also in 2022, back end of 2022, and I got the arc. This was an arc of, you know how far ago I had this on my TBR. This is a pull-a-thon bookmarks. Was that even this year's bookmarks? It must have been. Unless I slid one of last year's bookmarks in. I adored book 1 in this series, and look at the griffin. And this is a beautiful mat cover, and I have the hardcover of book 1. I need the hardcover of book 2. I need to continue this series before book 3 comes out, because I'm going to hit myself. If I'm gonna kick myself if I don't. But I'm gonna write a list. I'm writing a list, guys, a list. For this one, I'm showing you book 1, but I do want to get to book 2. This is a Cruel God series by True Disguise, and the first book is The 13th Hour, and I want to say the second book is The Children of the Gods. I might be wrong with that, but the next cover is like purple, like a deep purple colour. It's so good. This one was another 5-star read for me. Really need to get to book 2. They haven't mentioned a lot about book 3 yet, but they have had a lot of things going on, so I think writing has taken a bit of a backseat for now. That does give me time to catch up. I'm just hoping I can catch up before book 3 does come out. But again, I'm going to prioritise it. I don't have book 2 yet, but I am planning on getting the hardback like this to match, and they're not cheap, so, but it's worth it because I absolutely adore this book. I'm holding this book up because I don't have book 4. Is it book 4? 1, 2, 3, 5. 5. I don't have book 5 in the series yet, which is Endless Dreams by KJ Sutton. So this is the Fortuna Swan series. It starts with the book Fortuna Swan, and As the books have gone on, they have got thicker, and I'm hoping... How many pages is this? 700 pages. These are also available on these are also available on audiobook. But Kelsey has been picked up by a traditional publisher. I'm hoping to God, that book 6 will be coming out with these covers on, because if they change the covers on the last book of the series, I am going to scream. So the second, I'm aware that they did have to change the artist part of the series, but the artwork hasn't, the aesthetic hasn't changed all that much, and I'm just hoping that they keep, just for this series, like, have these versions, because there have been special editions that have been released in US book boxes and in the UK. I've spent a lot of time and money on these books. I'm really hoping that these are 6-book series, and I'm hoping that they bring book 6 out in the original style of cover. If they want to change it after that and bring out alternate covers, crack on. I just want these first. Thank you, please. But Endless Terrace should be quite a quick read to get through. It is dark, it is smutty, and there are a lot of trigger warnings, so if you do find yourself interested in that series, please look up content warnings. Next up, we have Miss Sarah J. Maas, and I am going to be rereading these first 2 books, because book 3, House of Flame, Shadow and Flame, is out at the end of January, and I will be reading that straight away. So this is a series I definitely know that I will be catching up with. So the first 2 books I've read. I read this more or less as soon as it came out. I will be rereading book 3 as soon as it comes out. So this is one win that I'm definitely going to have for next year. And I'm saying this now, and I'm hoping that 2024, Lisa, when you react to this, that this has actually been read. And book 3 has actually been read. If it hasn't, I am a disappointment to myself as a Sarah J. Maas fan. But this is the Crescent City series, and I don't know what else to say. I don't know how many books are in the actual series. I think there's 4. So, we'll see. In the next series, I'm really disappointed with myself. I know. I don't know what I'm doing. I read The Bone Season in 2022. I met Samantha Shannon. I went to get Priory signed, and The Bone Season, the original paperback that I've got, is down there. It is damaged, but it is signed and dedicated by Samantha Shannon, so I'm not going to get rid of my paperback. But this version came out this year, and I think they're also releasing anniversary editions of the rest of the series in hardback. So I will be getting those as well. I loved Bone Season and The Pale Dreamer. Does it have The Pale Dreamer in the back of this one? I've had a quick skim through this, and I don't think this has The Pale Dreamer in it. But this is a revised version as well. So there will be some things, I don't know how different this is to the original, but I shall be finding out. I would like to get up to where this series is currently released to. Samantha Shannon has a habit of, like, switching between series. So she did The Priory, and then she did some of this series, I think. And then she went to Day of Fallen Night, so I think she might be coming back to this series. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know. I think that she might be doing this. But I haven't read any other book after this, and I think there's 5 out in total. So I would at least like to have read books 2 and 3 by the end of 2024. That's the goal. I probably won't be fully caught up on this series, but it is what it is. And I do want to get them all in hardback as well. L.L. McRae, you say? Have you not just showed one of her series? Yes, I did. I read Marauder, which is the first book in her first series. Will Double Aria series. There's 4 books in that series. I keep saying series. But the second book is Poem. And I know this is Ellen McNeil, but this was her old name. She's revised the covers on this. And I really would like to get this series completed. They are very quick reads. Well, the first one was anyway. And I don't know how I've not continued with this, given how we left book 1. But also I think that might be the reason why I have left it. Okay, I'm skilled, okay? I'm skilled. But Ellen McRae, Lauren, if you watch this, I will be reading it. Next up, do not come for me. Do not come for me. If you've watched any of my Bookmas videos, I said I probably wasn't going to put this back on the TBR. And if I did say that and cut it out, then it's because I know I was lying. Maybe I did cut that bit out, I can't remember. But this, I really want to read the Great Coat series. And I'm really annoyed with myself because I came into the whole world of books and fantasy at a later stage in my life. I say a later stage in my life, I'm 36. But at a later time after, like, these had already been released. And now getting the hardbacks of this series is ridiculously difficult. And I don't like some of the US covers that I've seen. But I would love to have a hardcover set of these books. But this is the Great Coat series by Bastien de Castell. I read the Spellslinger series, which is the YA series that he has. Absolutely adored that. Top tier shit. I haven't. And then I was like, oh, I'll try his adult work. I've read The Traitor's Blade. I reread The Traitor's Blade last year in the hopes that I was then going to continue with the series, and then didn't continue the series. So I reread book 1 in order to get to book 2 and then just never continued it. Why? I love his writing. And I can't really say this because I know that there are quite some quite graphic scenes. Steph from Steph Loves has mentioned that some of the scenes in here, I don't know if it was this one or the one after, or maybe all of them, I don't know. There's some scenes that are quite difficult to read, and I think it's like torture scenes, but I can't really say it's that either because I read books where they're literally like slicing people to pieces in battle. I did notice though that when I read the John Abercrombie series, torture is very different to battle. In battle, although you might not always want to be there, it's sort of like it's a quid pro quo, tit for tat kind of situation. You're fighting each other, whereas torture is someone being held against the will and things being done to them. And that is the thing that I think in my mind sort of makes my brain scratch, but in not a good way. I just know that it's going to be so good, and Joe Jameson narrates these books. Oh God, I don't know why I do this to myself, but I will be continuing the series next year. Whether I finish the whole 4 books is another question, but I will be continuing that series next year. I read, what's it called? Daughter of Smoke and Bone in 2022. This was also my last year's series I need to complete. I have heard so many good things about this series. However, I have also seen that Becca from Becca Fowle and our friend Emma did read this. Becca wasn't so happy with the ending. Was it the ending that she wasn't happy with? Or part of it made her give it a low rating, and that scares me because this series has been hyped up so much. I love Stranger Dreamer. Muse of Nightmares is another one I've got to continue that isn't on this list that I've just remembered because I'm a heathen who split up my Laini Taylor books. But yeah, I do still need to finish Muse of Nightmares as well. So 2 Laini Taylor series I need to continue with. I need to at least read book 2. At least have read book 2. That is the goal. That is the aim. If I read book 3 as well, yay for me. But at least book 2. Next up we have the lovely Leigh Bardugo, and I read Ninth House, which is totally different to anything else I've read from Leigh Bardugo. I loved the Shadow and Bone book that I read. I haven't read the trilogy. Shut up. Don't at me. Don't at me. Yes, I have read King of Scars and Rule of Wolves. Again, I will be taking no questions at this time. I have also read the graphic novel that she brought out, and now I've read this. And I've read The Language of Dawns, and yeah, I've watched the first 2 Shadow and Bone series, and now it's been cancelled, so I'm pretty sad, but I really need to read Hellbent. I think, is it a series? Is it going to be book 3? I don't know, but I need to read Hellbent. I need to get Hellbent first, because I want it in hardback to match it on my other Leigh Bardugo books, and Also, Lee Bardugo, not that you're ever going to watch this, but where are the special edition versions of books 2 and 3 in the Shadow and Bone series? Because you've got collected editions of book 1, and then nothing. Radio silence, crickets, tumbleweed, and then everything else is being brought out. Like, what the hell? Anyway, I know the Shadow and Bone series was brought out by Litjoy in pretty special editions as like a trilogy, but that sold out so quickly, couldn't get my hands on it. Next up is a series I know I'm going to finish because it's part of the Mass Along, so thank you Smash and Torre for getting another Sarah J Maas series ticked off on my list. So I'm reading Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn in January and February, and then I'm reading the last book, Kingdom of Ash, in March, I think. So I think that's how it goes. But this series will definitely be finished next year, and this is the Sworn of Glass series. This is my first time reading this series, won't be my last, and I am so glad that I was able to find a place that would sell the box set for a reasonable price before the awful covers were in circulation everywhere, because I don't like the new covers at all. Now that I've read the series, I don't know what this means, right? I don't understand this bit, but the fact that Selena is on the covers of the series, I get that. The new covers I don't get, but yeah, I'm really happy with my hardcovers of these, and I will 100% be telling you in December 2024 for Bookmas that this is the series I finished, and I'm hoping that it's going to be a 5-star series for me, but we're yet to see. So far it's been 5 stars. Just keep me in your thoughts. So the last 3 series, no surprise to anyone, they're all indie. The next one is the Threadlight series by Zach Argyle. I have read Voice of War last year? This year? I can't remember. And I got the lovely hardcovers that Broken Binding was selling, and this is Stones of Light. The last book is Bonds of Chaos, and I absolutely adored book 1. It was so unique. Like the magic system is threads, and like if you've got emerald green eyes, you could weave emerald threads, you got blue eyes, you could use sapphire threads, and they mean certain things. And you're either born with green, blue or brown eyes. Brown means you're achromatic and you don't have a power, but the way that the thread system works is just peak. And I don't know why I've not continued the series. All available on audiobook as well. And Zach Argyle has also got a YouTube channel. If you ever want to check out some indie books, there are some authors that have got together that are releasing their audiobooks on YouTube. I know that if for those who read really fast, YouTube isn't great for like upping up the speed, but if you can listen to a book on 2 speed, then I would highly recommend. I'll leave the YouTube channel linked below. I would highly recommend that you go check out the link below, because free audiobooks. Fun times. I'm editing this, ignore the messy hair, I'm about to go in the shower, and I realised that the Onyx Born Chronicles are not on there, which is the series by D.W. Ross. I do own the first one. I need to get the second and third, but that is also a series I've started and I would love to finish next year. I do know he is slowly working on his next books, so ideally I would like to have read his first trilogy before he brings anything else out. And it is possible because they are very quick reads. Like the first one was really quick. But yeah, so this is the 23rd series. Gummy. And if I find any more after this, I'm not editing them in. And these last 2 in, like, I've left them till last because out of all the indie authors I've read from, I could honestly say these 2 currently are probably 2 of my faves, especially in this category. So, Of One Ruin by Ryan Carhill. This is a chunky motherfucker that sits at, should we just 1,000 pages. Yep, I do also have this on audio, we're surprised we're not, but I love this series. It's high fantasy, it's dragons, it's battles, it breaks your heart, it makes you smile, it has got great world building and just immense John Gwynne vibes with the writing. it just makes me feel things. And when I read the first book in this series, it was just so intense. I physically just had to take a breath and put the book down for a second, because I was just, it was a lot for me to take in. And this was the first indie book, other than KJ Sutton's work, that I started reading. And it was just after I'd started reading the Faithful and the Fallen series, and I found him on Twitter, and his posts started coming up, and it was like, oh, he's an author. Oh, he does like in fantasy books, and is it self-published? What is this self-published thing that I'm hearing so much about? And then I don't haven't looked back since. So, you know, Ryan is the reason that the shelves are all indie books. And there are some more over there that you can't see, because the shelf goes a bit further that way. But Ryan is the reason that I started following more indie authors on social media, started looking into more, mostly fantasy. Most of these are fantasy, there's some sci-fi here, but he's the reason that all of this is now in my possession, because I read his books, and prior to this I hadn't read the best self-published fantasy, but mostly because when I was younger, authors, I read a lot of like indie contemporary, and it wasn't the best written. And I will say that I was one of those people that was just kind of like, I saw self-published and I was just like, oh, I don't know if I should try it, I don't know. But there was something about him, and something about how, like, him as a person, where he was engaging with his audience, was just so lovely to see. But then all these comments about how great his book was, I was just like, do you know what, I'll get it. So I went on the Broken Bandit and got the first one, and like I said, I haven't looked back since. I've been introduced to so many amazing authors. I found a great friend in Chelsea from North Seeker Bookaholic through like finding indie fantasy. Then he started recommending reviewers that read indie fantasy on my booktube, and that's how I follow all the people that I follow now, like Andrew from Andrew Willard Reads, Tori from Tori Talks, Dom from Dominish Books. They are all on my radar because of this guy right here, and I need to keep up with this. And I will be rereading all the books up until this point in order to read this, and I will be doing vlogs of this, so you'll see my breakdowns live. Well, not live, but... And finally, the last of the physical books that I have that I need for series I need to finish or continue is Michael R. Miller. Are we surprised? This is book 3. This is a book that I need to read. He's working on book 4 at the moment, and I've seen that he's brought hardbacks out of his series prior to this. He's going to bring a bank account, and I don't really care. If you've been on my channel, like watched me for any amount of time, you'll know that I mentioned this author quite a few times. The first book is Ascendant. It's about Ash and Holt, boy and his dragon. Ash is blind. Look, Ash is grown up in this one. He's had a bit of a level up in this one, but to be fair, so was Holt. So this is Ash, the dragon, and this is Holt, his rider. And Holt started as a cook's son, and it is in a world where you could only be basically what your parents were. He wanted to be a rider. His dad was a cook, so you know his surname is Cook because you're named after what your parents are. So stuff happens, and you can obviously tell that he isn't a cook. I don't know how to recommend this enough. I'm really crap at giving any kind of coherent representation of the books that I love, other than I love them. Like the relationship between these two. So the storytelling that Michael just weaves throughout the whole book is just amazing. World building, character development, fight scenes, which, oh my god, just the narration. I keep forgetting who narrates this, and I'm really sorry, but the narrator is also amazing. Absolutely amazing. I need to read book 3, and I also want to get his other works as well, but that's by the by. Yeah, so there are all the physical series I've started, and I either want to finish in 2024, or at least get up to date with in 2024, based on what's currently out at this moment in time. Anything released in 2024, I can't guarantee I can get to it, but I'm going to try and get to what I can that's already released, if that makes sense. Thank you very much for watching. You may see a video from me with all my physical TBR, but at the moment I'm still debating whether or not I want to do that. But either way, if you do like me and you want to see more of me, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're here and you want to let me know you're here, then please leave a black heart, it's very much appreciated. And until next time, enjoy whatever you're reading, doing or watching, and I'll see you all very soon.
I left my phone at my brother's place.